Week 9. Week 9 in the books, fellas. Where does the time go? Great week for me. Patriots squeak out a win. Rivalry week. The trophy's back in its rightful hands. Predictions. I'd like to file a formal complaint against Stern, who did not set his lineup and was also the only game that I got wrong. So that was pretty frustrating. 4-1 this week. Yeah, not great. Not great for Stern. You can see here how I did. But it was a great week. Great week across the board for Jer Bear. Standings. The league's balanced, fellas. We got Sky bringing up the rear at 2-7. Sami at 3-6. Noto and Jack, both at 4-5, right outside the playoff picture. And then we have 5 teams at 5-4. And then me at 7-2. Lonely at the top, but that's kind of how it goes for this league, right, fellas? We've won the last 2 years. You don't want me to get a three-peat. But right now, we're in a good spot. But yeah, the league is up for grabs for sure. No one is technically dead from the playoffs yet. Sky could still make a run. He rips out 5 wins in a row. He's back in the playoff picture. Sami obviously in the playoff picture too, and then Noto is going to be pumped to get his guys back, but we'll get into it like we always do. Let's get into our matchups from this last week, shall we? Matchup 1 was Sean and Sky, and before I get into all the matchups, I will say pretty low scoring, a lot of low scoring teams across the league this week. We had 4 teams not break 100. I think that's a record. We had 2 teams on top of that not break 115, and then it was pretty top heavy. We're pretty top heavy this week. With all that being said, first matchup, Sean and Sky, 109-96. I'm gonna lay off Sky a little bit. I think I've been giving it to him this year with the commies and with how bad his fantasy team is, and with Jaden getting hurt. I think he could use some reprieve right now. So at least he wasn't loser of the week. Kamara is beyond washed. That's definitely a bummer to see. I don't think he got traded today. I don't even think it was talked about him getting traded because he said he didn't want to. Tyrone Tracy disappointed. Debo was not great. Sky's team was just pretty meh. You know, he started off pretty strong with the Ravens D, getting 12 points on Thursday Night Football, looked to be in good shape. But that was about the highlight of his week. Trey McBride looked good with 16 points to cut a touchdown, and CD with 15 was fine on Monday Night Football, but needed a lot more from both of them in order to get it down. Still was lost by 13 to Sean. 109. Sean loses another player to injury for the season, Tucker Kraft. I know I sent that text earlier about who's actually been affected the most by injury. But to lose Tucker Kraft after you've already lost Malik Neighbors and Tyreek Hill, that's tough for sure. But he was able to come away with a win this week. Basically, Devontae Adams, Romeo Dubes, Kyron Williams, Devon Achane, they got it done for him. The rest of the team was pretty meh. Jordan Love continues to be just a fine fantasy quarterback. He looked horrible against the Panthers if you actually watched that game. 9 points on the day. Kareem Hunt, I think, got in the end zone. DK ran back that kick for a touchdown. Otherwise, would have been a pretty bad day for him. Then the Jaguars defense against the Raiders, only 3 points. It was fine. I think, Sean was 5th or 6th in scoring this week. So, 109, not a lot, but it was enough to squeak by and get the job done. And at this point in the season, a win's a win, and I'm sure Sean will take it. Right now, Sean is sitting at 5-4 in 5th place, and Sky alone at the bottom, unfortunately, sitting at 2-7 in 10th. Matchup to Chad and Noto. This game came down to Monday Night Football with Marvin Harrison Jr., and I did text both these guys individually just to get a vibe checks on both of them. Noto thought he was going to play great defense on Marvin Harrison Jr. They're going to shut him down. That obviously not up being the case. MHJ has his best game, I think, of the season. 22 points. Yeah, best game of the season. And I don't think it's a coincidence that their quarterback can now see over the line of scrimmage, and that's why he's starting to look better. He did absolutely cook that defensive back on the touchdown that he caught. That guy got flamed. But Chad's team, 114, again, not a lot, but he's been squeaking by. He's won 5 out of his last 6. He's hot. He's not winning in shootouts, but he's getting the job done. He was pretty top heavy this week. Darnold with 27, Jacobs with 20, Jalen Warren with 17, Marvin Harrison with 22. Cortland Sutton caught one pass. It was a 30-yard touchdown. Tyler Warren disappointed a little bit, did not find the end zone. The Colts offense didn't look great, and then his two flexes combined for 3 points with Vidal crashing back down to earth. That Chargers-Titans game was a weird game, honestly. The Titans' defense and special teams, I think, scored twice. And then Joe Alt gets hurt. So Chargers as a whole, not stonks for them. And then Kayshon Boutte does get hurt with a hamstring injury. That's tough for sure. He's a good part of the Patriots offense, even if he's not a very strong fantasy receiver. On Noto's side of it, doesn't break 100. Noto's been pretty banged up. His team's been hurting, but it makes sense. His first 5 picks were Bijan, A.J. Brown, Bucky, Trevion, and Mahomes. So, you're not getting any value out of 3 of those guys. 2 of them are hurt. Oh, and Garrett Wilson. So I don't even think I had that right. But most of Noto's top picks haven't been playing recently, and he's still sitting at 4 and 5. He's got to be happy that he took Rashee Rice, because if he didn't, he would be pretty boned, honestly. His team would look pretty atrocious outside of Bijan. Mahomes didn't look great against Buffalo. Rashee Rice looked good as he normally does. Got a running touchdown. Shakir was fine. Pitts was meh. Seahawks D was solid for him, as they normally are. But pretty bad performance from Noto, not breaking 100. So this was another bit of a stinker. But Chad gets the win. 5 and 4. 6th place. He's climbed all the way back from 0 and 3. He's in the playoff picture in 6th place. And Noto sitting at 4 and 5, game outside of the playoffs. Matchup 3, Char and Sami, 166-91. This was an absolute throttling. Sami did not stand a chance. And I know I ripped him for it last week, but what are we doing? Dropping Kincaid for nothing. Someone would have traded you for Kincaid. Instead, you're rostering 3 quarterbacks and Dylan Sampson. Like, buddy. What if Kittle gets hurt? Now you're boned fully instead of having 2 backup quarterbacks to pick from. So that was some rough managing from our Cali, or not Cali anymore, our Texas friend Sami. Not great for sure. 91 points, bottom of the league in scoring. He was loser of the week. He sent me his video at 4:30, so I will send that over. It'll be at the end of when I do the recap, so you don't have the winner of the week video yet. But what went wrong for him? Rome Odunze as the big thing. The Bears score 47 points and Rome Odunze doesn't catch a single pass. That is crushing from a fantasy owner perspective. That sucks a lot. Kittle was just fine with 6 points, and just fine is generous. He was not good with 6 points. DK Metcalf only with 2. Jordan Addison with 8. Lamar looked great on Thursday Night Football with 25. Jameer disappointed. Chase Brown has been very good the last 2 weeks with Joe Flacco at the helm. But he lost by 70 points. So there really wasn't anything he could have done. He could have played his entire bench as well, including the 2 quarterbacks that he has, and he still wouldn't have won. That's how bad Char beat him by. Who got it done for Char? Kincaid, first and foremost, 22 points off the waivers. Good job, Char. Josh Allen with 28, CMC with 34, Puka with 22. He did get hurt, leave. It looked like he could have came back. I think Char's going to avoid another potential injury. But JSN looked great with 22, and then Xavier Worthy and Tet have been pretty meh for Char most of the year. Xavier Worthy probably his biggest disappointment. Didn't really get that much value out of him. Obviously, he got hurt week 1, out weeks 2 and 3, was good for those 2 weeks, and now Rasheed's back, so his value is pretty much gone to the toilet. Yeah, not great. And then Igbuka, he gets back from bye. But Char, we've been saying if he's got all of his guys, he's going to be the team to beat, and that was the case right here. 166 points was good for another winner of the week for Char, his second one of the year. And Char, one of the many 5 and 4 teams, sitting in second place, and Sami, 3 and 6, a couple games back outside of the playoff picture, but still very much alive in the scheme of things. Matchup 4, and the one game I got wrong, it was a 55-point win for Jack, 149-95. So yes, Stern definitely should have set his lineup. That's pretty inexcusable at this point when we're all competing for the playoffs. It was last place punishment, all that fun stuff. Probably wouldn't have mattered. He would have needed 25 and 30 from his running back and his QB in order to get the job done, which I don't think he would have been able to find that off the waivers. The rest of his team looked solid, honestly. 95 points. He didn't start 2 players, and he still wasn't loser of the week. Second lowest scorer this week, beat out Sami, but DJ Moore with 22 points, Amon-Ra with 18, James Cook was just fine, Pickens was just fine. Jake Ferguson's cooled off a lot since CDs came back. Obviously, he left points on the bench because he started with people that didn't play. Jack, Where did it all go right? Brock Bowers and Caleb Williams. The two of them combined for 81 points. They almost would have beat Stern all by themselves, but Javonte was a little disappointing. Chuba obviously is pretty much worthless now that Rico Dowdle is the RB1 in Carolina. Jalen Waddle looked fine with 14 points. Wandale was fine. Stephon Diggs was fine. Olave was just okay. Jack, yeah, I mean, really solid performance. You're right back in the mix of things at 4-5. You clawed your way back. I personally am appreciative that you chose to hang on to Stephon Diggs and Wandale Robinson over T. Higgins this last week, which we'll get more into when we get into my matchup. But, 149 points, second highest score. It was a great week for Jackie Boy. Texans defense looked good against the Broncos too. But yeah, a little bit of the top heavy. Obviously, you got a guy scoring 43 and a guy scoring 38. You're gonna be top heavy. No one scored 20 for Jack. Everyone was either above 30 or below 20. But it was enough to get the win, and I'm sure Jack's not complaining about getting a win. I will say, Jack, shout out you. You picked up Jacoby Brissett off the waivers. That was a great defensive maneuver. Who says you can't play defensive fantasy football? Jacoby Brissett scored 24 points, so would have been a lot closer if Stern was paying attention, but he wasn't, and a bummer for Stern. Bummer for everyone else who likes to see good old-fashioned competition out here, but Jack, I'm sure, is not complaining with the win, but he probably would have got one anyway, honestly. Jack, 4-5. You're a game out of playoffs, baby. Stern drops his third in a row. He was 5-1. He's dropped 3 in a row, sitting at 5-4 in third place. Matchup 5. And honestly, I'm not sure who's going to listen to this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Me and Omar, our annual matchup. He had me last year. I get him back this year. 145 to 137. Omar, top 4 in scoring this week. I think he was top 4 in scoring last week until came away with an L. Not enough to get it done. Yeah, tough one for Omzy over here. I hate Drake London. Just made the Patriots look horrible and was stressing me out. 38 points on my head. On almost 40 burger and by one of your guys and still losing is crazy. The Patriots just refused to put Christian Gonzalez on him one-on-one. We put our guy who was literally 7 or 8 inches shorter than him, and he's just like, oh yeah, I am 6'5", I can go get this ball. So that was frustrating. Everyone for Omar was decent, I'll say. His Chargers players disappointed a lot with 9 and 6 points by Ladd and Keenum, respectively. That Chargers game was a weird game. I already talked about it, but Tennessee had the special teams return and a defensive touchdown, I think, and it was a weird flow, and then Joe Alt got hurt, so the Chargers were basically just like kind of scrambling the whole time, and just was a really weird game. Omar unfortunately left a lot of points on the bench. His bench scored 109 points. Goff outscored Daniel Jones by 5. Jameson Williams outscored both of his receivers. Rico Dowdle outscored everyone that he started except for Drake London. And then Laporta over Kelsey killed him. That was a 9-point difference. And that would have been enough for Omar to win the game if he would have just put Laporta in over Kelsey, which he had done on previous weeks. So this was a winnable game for Omar, which I'm sure makes it all the much worse. If it was totally out of his hands, he can say whatever. He just had my number this year. But Omar could have won, and he didn't, which makes it that much harder for him knowing that he doesn't get to play us again unless we face in the playoffs for a whole nother year. On my side of the matchup, what went right for me? T. Higgins. Thank you, T. Higgins. And the crazy thing is, I almost didn't start him because I saw that Joe Flacco's shoulder was banged up. I was like, I don't know. If he's banged up, he's not going to be able to throw it deep, and that's T. Higgins' game. And I took a step back and said, nah, you can't bench T. Higgins if you have T. Higgins and Joe Flacco's at the helm. You got to just trust that he's healthy. I would have been beating myself up if I would have benched T. Higgins for Torrey Horton, which I almost did. And Torrey had a great game with 20 points, but I would have lost because of it. Chargers D, 6 points more than the Patriots D, so that was big. Drake May was just fine. JT was his worst game of the year. GNT getting in the end zone against Jacksonville off the pass. That was awesome. Pittman looked great. AJ Barner even got in on the fun. My waiver wire pickup, little tush-push action. And then Dave Montgomery scores a touchdown too. So a lot of my guys scored touchdowns today. And we get a win. We were second highest in the league, or third highest in the league, I'll say. I apologize, Jack. Third highest in scoring in the league. We're happy to get a win. We're real happy to get a win. But we respect Omar above all. And we want him to be happy. And we want him to get a couple more wins. We'd love to see him again in the playoffs. Maybe get a full sweep on him in the year. But we have nothing but respect for our friend out in Cali. And with all that being said, Omar drops another one. 2 in a row, I believe. 5-4, fourth place. I get another win, alone at the top, sitting at 7-2. Before we close the page on last week, look ahead. We still have to hear from our winners and losers of the week, Sami and Char. But before we do that, I do have a special guest for you all. Stern, here to address the coaching malpractice from this last week. People are unhappy, and Stern is here to address the concerns. Stern, what would you like to say, friend?
Fellas, I had a inexcusable coaching disaster this past weekend. I will admit I got a little, maybe a lot, distracted by Halloween and the festivities, and I forgot to set my lineup appropriately. Will not happen again. I apologize. I will be better. Good day.
Stern, appreciate you owning up to it. Poor performance. I believe you. It won't happen again. Moving on. Sami. And just FYI to the league, Sami sent me this video at 4:30 on Sunday. So he was calling it early. He did end up being correct. He was the lowest scorer of the week. Sami, what do you have to say, buddy?
Coming to you guys, second loser of the week video this year. Sunglasses, car selfie mode, because I am just fed up with my team. They are all dog shit. I came into the week with Lamar Jackson scoring 25. I was feeling really good about this week. And then Jackson Dart ended up outperforming him. So I guess I made the wrong decision on that front to begin with. Odunze scores 0 points. I think Jared sent me like 7 trades for Odunze this year. I've rejected all of them. Probably should have accepted all of them. And I know he's going to send another offer this week. Probably will still reject it because I believe in my boys. I just feel defeated. I don't know what to do. I'm just hoping, I get players back from injury, which won't happen. I was looking at my schedule for next week. I have like no running backs. It's going to be tough. I am going to start training officially for the beer mile alongside Sky. And I'm just sad. I'm just sad, defeated, upset. I'm all the emotions. GG, Alex. Hopefully I won't have to make another video like this again, but I guarantee you I will. Hey guys, hopped back in the car to record an addendum to my loser of the week video. Also petitioning that I get named drop of the week, because I honestly deserve to be dropped from the league from dropping Dalton fucking Kincaid this week. I don't know what I was thinking. I usually have charts I consult before I do any ad drops. And I was just shooting from the hip, and I might have just given Char the league. Because I guess Dalton Kincaid's like really good. And I clearly, first 7 weeks he's playing pretty okay. But I dropped him because I'm a fucking idiot. So that's on me, and I'm sorry for any damage he causes your team in the near future.
So, Sami, great videos. Love the addendum. Unprompted. Was not asked for at all. Love the Flint Hill Ice Hockey Polo. Love the Sunnies. Don't love the driving and recording, buddy. We got to stay safe out there. Yes, we did address it in the recap, but dropping Dalton Kincaid for Char to play him against you, for him to hang that on your face, that's an extra tough look. Tough sledding all around for Sami for sure. On the other side, I think this is our second week in a row our loser and winner played each other. Winner of the week, Char, let's hear it from you.
All right, I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. This is the third time I've won this award. It will not be the last time I win this award this season. So be prepared to see my face again, fellas. If I'm healthy, you're going to lose, and I'm going to be making this video a lot more. So be prepared. Best of luck to you all. I hope you don't play me in the playoffs because you will lose. And it's going to be a wonderful rest of the season for me. All right. See you, fellas.
Char, love the millennial pause at the beginning there, and love that you're embracing the villain route. You're making it known you will be seen again. I respect it. I like it. That wraps up week 9. Let's look forward. Let's look ahead. We got some good-ish matchups this week, some not-so-good matchups, but we're going to get into it like we always do. Let's do it. Matchup 1. Two guys who have not set their lineups yet, which is frustrating for sure. We have Noto and Sky. Right now, Sky's coming in. It says a 20-point favorite, but obviously this is going to change. Noto has not plugged in Herbert yet. He has not plugged in a receiver yet. Sky doesn't have a QB that's playing. So I imagine the projection for this game will be about even. Bucky Irving did not practice today. No updates on that. If I was a gambling man, which you guys know I am not, I don't think Bucky plays again for the rest of this year. They've been super hush-hush about what's going on with him. And if he's not playing practicing at all after the bye, and it was reported that he's running, but he hasn't done any contact yet, that's not what you want out of someone whose job it is to play football and get hit by people. So that's tough. He does get A.J. Brown back after he missed the last 2 weeks with bye and injury. But he's definitely hurting with Rasheed and Mahomes on bye this week. Herbert also definitely takes a hit with Joe Alt going down. I know he's the QB3 right now, but their whole offense gets kind of boned without Joe Alt there protecting him. On Sky's side of the matchup, obviously very unfortunate with Jaden going down. He has Dak, as was supposed to be his backup. He started him a couple times. Gets hurt right before the Cowboys bye week. He picks up C.J. Stroud, who, when did he pick him up? So he picked him up this morning. He's in concussion protocol. He's not going to play this week. I think he was already ruled out. Yeah, he's going to be out. So I don't know. I legitimately don't know why Sky picked him up, but you know what? To each his own. Maybe he just needed a locker room guy, get some good vibes in before he heads out. He obviously gets Quinshon against the Jets. That should be a good matchup for him. Tracy's not very good. Debo's fat. Jawan's not very good. Trey McBride's very good. BTJ obviously not very good. Gadsden not great. And then CeeDee Lamb on bye. That's tough. Honestly, both these teams don't look great this week. You know, Noto's down a bunch of his players. He has Jacoby Myers and Malik Washington in. It's hard for me to look at this and pick Noto to win. It's also hard for me to look at this and pick Sky to win. With CD on bye. That's tough. I don't want to pick either of these guys, but I have to pick one, so I am going to pick Sky because Rasheed is on bye. And I don't feel great that I said it out loud, but you know what, Sky? Let's shock the world. Let's set our lineups. Let's make some trades, perhaps. Let's build out the roster. You're still not dead. You're only one game back out of 9th place right now, who's only one game back out of 7th place, who's only one game back out of the playoffs, and then you're basically in there. So, Sky, don't let everyone run away with it. Let's get a win here. Let's lock in. Matchup 2, Omar and Jack. Omar comes in at about a 10.5-point favorite, 132 to 121. These two teams have played already this season, where Jack defeated Omar in week 2, 114 to 112. So that was a nice little mid-off to start. Looking at Omar's side of the matchup first, he is down Jamar Chase and Kelsey both on bye this week. I will say Omar's team is looking. It's very decent. They're looking good right now. He's hit on basically all of his late round running back picks. Rico Dowdle, the starter in Carolina now. Monangai looks great. Etienne's obviously been very solid this whole year. He trades for Rashid Shaheed out in Seattle now. Gives up Jamison Williams. He's divesting. He was too all in on a couple offenses. He says, you know what? I need to diversify. So he gets rid of one of his Lions receivers. He's only got one Lions pass catcher now. Gets Rashid Shaheed instead. We like it. We like what we're seeing. Derrick Henry, maybe he's starting to come into form a little bit now that Lamar's back. I am very concerned about Chargers players in general with Joe Alt going down. So that we'll see how that goes. He's got Drake London going against the new Sauce Gardner. And then Daniel Jones playing against Drake London. So that'll be interesting to watch. Bills D against Miami. I think that's a good play as well, Omar. On Jack's side of the matchup, he traded for Baker a couple weeks ago, but he's going with Caleb right now, which makes sense. My Patriots defense is just so fantastic. He's got Saquon back. He's going with Chuba against Rico Dowdle. So they got both Panthers running backs. Rico's looked a lot better than Chuba has this year, unfortunately, for our friend Jack. Diggs, Wandale, Bowers, he gets back. Obviously very happy to have him back. Waddle and Olave. And then the Texans D going against Jacksonville. So Texans D, defense 2 on the year. Solid play for sure. His flexes are they're solid guys. You know what I mean? Olave's the wide receiver 9, Waddle's the wide receiver 12. He's got a bunch of just guys that are going to get it done for you. He does have Javonte on bye this week. That is likely why Chuba is in the lineup. Devin Singletary is his other option. I would not be surprised if Jack pivots Devin Singletary. Rico did not practice today, but I'm assuming it was like a rest day for him. If Rico doesn't practice, that obviously turns the tides on this matchup a lot. this is going to be a good matchup. I'm excited for this one. Omar's lost 2 in a row. Jack, obviously coming off a very strong performance last week, getting Brock Bowers back. I think this is probably going to be the highest combined total score this week. I don't think either of these guys will be winner of the week, but I think both these guys are going to put up some numbies this week. All that being said, he's been top 4 in scoring last 2 weeks, still taking an L. I think he's top 4 in scoring again this week, but I think he gets it done this time. Unfortunately for our friend Jack, I think his running back room this week is going to be his demise. You won't be able to get it done with a combined running back room of Saquon and Chuba in Week 10 of 2025. Going to be difficult. I'm taking Omar here. Matchup 3, we got Char and Sean. Char comes in at a 21-point favorite. Very unfortunate for our dear friend Sean, whose team's dead. I do believe his team's so dead he has an extra roster spot right now. He does get Jameson Williams from Omar. I think for Sean's team, he really needs someone with that boomer bust play, and J-Mo is going to be that for him for sure. He's either going to explode or he's going to do nothing, and that's what Sean needs to balance out his team. Jordan Love has been pretty disappointing from a fantasy perspective. QB, he looked atrocious against Carolina last week, unfortunately. Akane's been very good. Kyron's been very good. Devontae's been very good. Dubes has been super solid. He's currently the wide receiver 28. Very consistent. He's what you want out of a flex. Dalton Schultz, that's a pretty big downgrade going from Tucker Kraft to Dalton Schultz. That's tough for sure, especially with Davis Mills back there. Maybe Sean's hoping that, backup QBs typically target the tight ends, and he's hoping that'll be the case here. Breece Hall going up against Cleveland. That is a very tough matchup. Breece obviously wanted to get traded to Kansas City. They didn't want to pay the 3rd round pick for him. They only want to give the 4th. He doesn't end up getting traded. He's very disgruntled. I don't have Breece in any of my leagues, but this is definitely a matchup I wouldn't be excited to start him in. Sean obviously doesn't have that option now to start him. If he has him, he's getting played with how banged up he is. Maybe he plugs Parker Washington in for someone. I'm not sure where. They did just trade for Jacoby. And then on bye this week, he's got DK, who actually I think will be a pretty good second half of the season. And then both Kansas City running backs. Chubb running out the bench as well. On Char's side of the matchup, his RB2 has been his detriment this whole season. He's going with Aaron Jones right now, who was banged up at the end of last week. He did not practice today. So if Aaron Jones misses, I don't know if Char's going to have to either go to the waivers or go with Brian Robinson Jr. Apologies, got a call there. But yes, Char, obviously CMC, Puka, JSN, real good. Ibuka was solid first half of the year. Hopefully comes back in form. Tet's been fine, wide receiver 20. Xavier Worthy's been mid, but I've been saying in every video, and I'll continue to say it, Char's running back 2, I don't understand why he hasn't made a trade. It's his team to manage, but yeah, just surprising to me. He toughs it out with Ramondre, who's actually probably going to miss the next couple weeks with turf toe, and Aaron Jones, who's always injured, and Tony Pollard, who's old and also always injured. So those are some tough guys to be working with. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but these two teams did play each other already. Week 1, 134-99. Char got the win, so it is a nice little rematch for them. Both these teams sitting at 5-4. Second and 5th place, Char and Sean respectively. All this to say, I do think Char comes away with a win here. I know his RB2 is lacking, but it's gonna be tough sledding this week with Breece going against Cleveland for sure. And just he needs a J-Mo explosion game if he's gonna have a chance. Starting the Jets D, especially after they just traded Quinnen Williams and Sauce. I don't know if I love that play, but it is Cleveland, it's Dylan Gabriel. Sean's got to be hoping they get a pick or something. But yeah, not sure if I'd be starting the Jets D personally. Obviously, I'm probably going to have some egg on my face after I say that, but we're going to go with Char in this matchup, fellas. Matchup 4, Stern and Chad, another 5-4 matchup. These two teams did play already week 2. Stern won 133-98, but Chad's won 5 out of his last 6. He's been hot. Stern comes in at about a 20-point favorite. That's definitely tough for Chad. His team is lacking in depth, I'll say. Trey Tucker and Alec Pierce filling out his flex. I actually don't hate Alec Pierce. I think he's been good when he's been playing. But doubling up on Colts, Trey Tucker, I think, is not it. I think that's probably not the move. But, with Scary Terry getting hurt and just not a lot of depth, I get where Chad's at. Bo Nix going up against the Raiders on Thursday Night Football this week. Josh Jacobs, Jalen Warren, Marvin Harrison actually looks to be competent with a QB that can throw him the ball because he can see over the line. So love that for Chad. On Stern's side of the matchup, he will set his lineup this week, I think. I think he's apologized. He's atoned. He's locked in. Unfortunately for Stern, James Cook did not practice today with a toe and ankle injury. It's Wednesday. It's early. We'll see what happens. But that would be a pretty big bummer for Stern because Miami's run defense is atrocious, and he's probably going to run all over them if he does play. Swift was back in practice today. DJ Moore was limited today. And then Zay Flowers, TJ Hawkinson, Amon-Ra, Kenneth Walker. Amon-Ra, I think, might score 35 by himself this week against the Commies secondary. That's going to be tough. He is going to piece them up for sure. Broncos D, great play against the Raiders this week. And then Chad with the Colts D against Atlanta. Colts have been very solid all year, and obviously the acquisition of Sauce just bolsters them a little bit more. I know Stern's dropped his last 3. I know Chad is 5 out of his last 6. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm assuming that if James Cook doesn't play, Stern will sub him out for someone. I'm going to say that. If he doesn't, I don't think he's going to win, but I have to go with what I see here. I think Stern takes this. I think Stern's going to get the dub here. Last matchup, me and Sami. I come in at about a 4-point favorite. We did play week 1, as we always do. I won 133 to 103. Sami, for sure, hurting a little bit with the buys this week. Chase Brown, he has Jordan Mason in. So now that I'm thinking about it, I do hope Aaron Jones plays for you, Char, because that would be not good for Sami for Jordan Mason. He gets Lamar, Nico with Davis Mills at the helm, so hopefully that's good for me. Odunze, who was obviously bad last week. Kittle, DK, Devontae, and then the Panthers D against New Orleans. I think that's a good play. I might actually be doing that in another league, which I'm pretty annoyed about now that I'm looking at it. On my side of the matchup, we got the Browns D last week. We got him early because we definitely would not have got him if we didn't get him early. QJ, Dave Montgomery, I got Colston Loveland plugged in right now. We'll see. I got a couple tight ends to pick from. We got a bunch of dogs in the locker room at the tight end position with Hunter Henry, AJ Barter, the new tush push king. Pittman, who didn't practice today, which I'm a little concerned about. JJ, GNT, don't love the matchup for GNT this week. JT, and then Drake May. I'd like to note, if you hear teams in the background, I'm recording at like 6 o'clock, so I'm off the clock. We're just, we're working hard out here. We got to pick me. Even with T. Higgins on bye. Chase Brown on bye for him. He did drop Matt Stafford, so good on you there, Sami. Picks up Tank Bigsby. Got him in case Saquon misses. That would be a good play if Saquon does miss. I'll give you that one, Sami. That'd be a solid play on your end. I think Sami and I have played each other like 8 times. I don't know what our all-time record is, but I think I'm heavily winning in that one. But things could change. We're not getting cocky. We're not getting complacent. We're always projected for around 130. Sorry, I just got a text that Omar said I'm blocked until further notice. That's tough. That's my best friend. I'm blocked. You hate to see something like that, but we're just gonna have to move on and finish out this video. All that being said, we're gonna take me here. If you're watching, if you stayed through the whole video, I appreciate you. Omar, even though I can't text you, hope you enjoyed watching me talk for the past half an hour. As always, I will text most of you guys about trades this week, even though no one ever wants to trade. And go Pats, baby.